Ms. Falati, directing your attention to the entry for November 26, 2015. You recall seeing this entry earlier today?
Yes.
And I believe you testified that this is the entry from the Thanksgiving dinner that you spent with Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp?
I believe it is.
Do you see in the middle where it says JD appeared calm and coherent?
I do.
Is that accurate to your recollection of that evening?
Again, I don't remember that specifically, but I just remember a general sense of it being a fun, happy evening.
So this is consistent with your recollection of that evening?
I would make that assumption.
And you have no reason to doubt the accuracy of your note, correct? Directing your attention to the December 17th, 2015 entry. Will you just take a minute and read this over and confirm whether strike that. Do you recall going and visiting Ms. Heard on December 17th, 2015?
I remember in so much as my nursing notes regarding this night. I can't say that I recall much more than I have here, but I do remember visiting her.
It says here that the client had visible bright red blood appearing at center of lower lip. Do you see that?
Yes.
Did you, other than the blood on Ms. Heard's lip, do you recall seeing any other injuries to her on that date?
I don't recall other than what I state.
Do you recall examining Ms. Heard's lip at all?
I don't think I examined it other than a visual examination. I didn't physically examine her lip.
The note says here, client also stated her head is bruised and that she lost clumps of hair in altercation. RN briefly looked at client's scalp, but was unable to visualize hematomas client had described. Is that what you wrote in your note?
Yes.
If you had observed the bruises or hematomas that Ms. Heard had described, would that have been reflected in your note?
Would assume, but again, I'm not trained in looking for those types of injuries, which is why my note continues that I encourage her to be seen by a professional that is trained to do so.
Can we drop down to the next page? And this is just the end portion of this note. It says here, RN reminds client to hydrate with oral fluids and to limit abstain from alcohol. Client was consuming red wine with RN left, but assured RN she would consume in moderation. Is that what you wrote in your note?
It is, and I believe I miswrote there. Probably it should say client was consuming red wine when RN left, not with, just to clarify.
Why would you advise Ms. Heard on this occasion to limit, or why did you advise Ms. Heard to limit or abstain from alcohol on this occasion?
I don't recall why I would be speaking to limit or abstain from alcohol on this occasion.
To confirm, based on your nursing notes, you were aware that Ms. Heard claimed to have been injured by Mr. Depp in December of 2015, right?
Correct.
And you went and actually saw her shortly after that alleged incident, correct?
Not that same day, but possibly the following day, I believe.
And you, on that occasion, you observed that she had a bloody lip, correct?
Correct.
And she told you that that was a result of the altercation with Mr. Depp, right?
Right.
If she had had any other injuries on that occasion, would you have recorded them in your nursing notes?
I make that assumption based upon my other notes that reference the blood on her lip.
Could we go back to Exhibit 2 in the nursing notes for April 21st, 2016? Which was this number? Which is on case number 16957.
Where it says, RN socialized with JD for 45 minutes. JD appeared coherent, oriented, and sociable. Thought process logical and clear. Do you have any reason to doubt that that's accurate? That's an accurate description of Mr. Depp on that date?
Jessica, I apologize. Can you just use your cursor to help me see the note that you were just reading?
Sorry, I actually don't have control of it, but it's down towards the middle. It says RN socialized with JD at times 45 minutes. JD appeared coherent, oriented, and sociable.
Oh, yes, I see it. Thank you.
Thought process logical and clear. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was your question regarding that?
Do you have any reason to doubt that that's an accurate description of how Mr. Depp appeared to you on April 21st, 2016?
I have no reason to doubt it. I would stand by my notes.
You knew that Mr. Depp was being treated for substance abuse issues by Dr. Kipper and Nurse Deputy Lloyd, correct?
Yes.
If Mr. Depp had appeared intoxicated on this occasion, is that something that you would have documented?
If it had been outwardly visible for either client, I would have made reference to that.
If we could go back to the nursing notes, Exhibit 2, please. And if we could go down to the entry for May 11. Ms. Falati, we looked at this. You looked at this entry earlier today, correct?
Correct.
Directing your attention to just a couple lines down, it says, client discussed her birthday trip to Coachella Music Festival. Trip was April 22nd, 2016 through April 24th, 2016. Client admits to illicit drug use during the trip and states she ingested mushrooms and MDMA simultaneously while also consuming alcohol, and states she vomited and was, quote, high for at least 24 hours straight, end quote. Do you see that?
Yes, I do see that.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Do you recall, well, first of all, do you recall Ms. Heard relaying this to you?
I don't recall these specifics that I state here in the note, but I remember sort of a conversation talking about the trip after they had returned.
And this starts out, client admits to illicit drug use. So am I correct that this is, based on these notes, this is something Ms. Heard reported to you directly?
Again, I don't remember these specifics. However, my usage of client admits refers to a client reporting something to me.
Had Ms. Heard ever admitted to illicit drug use to you before this time?
I believe in reference to my nursing notes from when I first met her, he alluded to previous substance use.
It says here, RN reminded client that illicit drug use will not be tolerated by medical staff and that any medications or drugs that are not prescribed can interfere and cause adverse effects with her prescribed medication. Client laughed and also reported using illicit drugs, mushrooms, and MDMA on May 9th, 2016, at home with a high-profile male acquaintance. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, he did.
Do you recall Ms. Heard laughing in response to your reminder about illicit drug use?
No, I don't recall that.
In your time caring for Ms. Heard, did you ever see Mr. Depp physically abuse her? Did you ever see Ms. Heard physically abuse Mr. Depp? Did you ever see Ms. Heard throw anything at Mr. Depp in the time that you cared for her?
No, I did not witness that.
In the time that you treated her, did you ever see Ms. Heard lose her temper?
As we talked about previously, the one incident that I can remember is in London, 2014. Yes, 2014, in regards to her phone being hacked and sensitive material being leaked.
Did you ever feel that Ms. Heard was hostile towards you at any time during your treatment of her?
No.
Did you ever feel like she was ignoring attempts by you to contact her?
Yes, I have a general memory of not often, I should, excuse me, I misspoke, of that happening on more than one occasion where I would reach out and not get a response. I remember feeling frustrated by that.
When had you treated domestic violence victims prior to this time?
The time that I worked with them was in nursing school. I don't want to say the specific place for confidentiality reasons, but it was for domestic violence victims. Sort of a safe house.
Ms. Falati, do you remember when you were treating Ms. Heard that at some point she had a cyst on her eyelid?
Yes, that sounds familiar.
Okay. And do you remember that you had a procedure to have that cyst removed?
Yes.
And was that a surgical procedure to your recollection?
From what I recall, that was handled at an outpatient surgical center. Other than that, I don't know the details of that specific process.
Do you recall whether Ms. Heard had any marks around her eye after having that procedure?
I don't recall. I remember a topical ointment being applied, but I don't recall if there were marks on her eye or not.
At this point, the questioning switches back to counsel for Ms. Heard.
All right, thank you.
Do you see